All right, fellas, what's going on? Denonu here, the man with black privilege, and we're back with a new Flash episode review here. And in this episode, it was I know I say this with every review, but it was pretty good actually. You had Barry, Cisco, and Harrison Wells. They went over to Earth 2, and you basically met most of their their doppelgangers in this, and you had a lot of feels in this episode as well, which was pretty good. Basically, they went over, they went to Star Labs, and Cisco's powers weren't working because this alternate dimension vibrates on a different frequency than, let's say, their own, and they couldn't find Zoom. So Barry had the idea of, oh, let me take the place of my doppelganger, to figure out what the police knew. Turns out police didn't know a whole lot, but basically what he found out was that his doppelganger, his alternate dimensional self, was actually married to Iris, and she was a cop instead of Joe, and Joe wasn't a fan of their relationship because he feels that it puts her in danger. And you basically had a lot of feels between him and Iris. And I think they also had a moment where he spoke with his mom for like a couple minutes, and that was pretty good for him, I guess. And the other things in the episode that happened, you basically had Killer Frost, and also I forget what his name, but the old guy who was Firestorm. What did they call him? I think they call him Deathstorm is what they called him. But they were basically going around robbing people and different places because they work for Zoom, and apparently these other criminals were, I guess, stealing in Zoom City, and they were trying to just enforce, his whole, I don't know what you call it, but they were like enforcing his territory, so to speak. They didn't want nobody to do any crimes in their city without his approval. And basically, Barry and Iris and Joe was at this one, I guess you can call it a jazz spot, where Joe is singing now because I guess that's his career, instead of being a cop in this universe here. And they came in there to rob the place. Joe got shot. Barry was forced to try to take on Killer Frost and Deathstorm at the same time. And in doing so, he basically made him retreat. He didn't actually beat him. But later on in the episode, when they come around again, he goes with the cops, Cisco. The cops have a lead, as far as where they're at. However, when they get there, it was a trap that was set by Cisco's doppelganger. And he actually had the same type of glasses that Cisco has, but in addition, he basically had more control over his powers than Cisco did. And he tried to sort of explain that to him, tried to, convince him to come on over to the dark side of the force, so to speak. But Cisco obviously didn't do that. And I'm assuming, because I don't know Cisco's character that much in the comic books, but I mean, if his, powers work, on vibrations, which I'm assuming they do, based on what they had in the show and basically what little I've read up about his comic book counterpart, is that pretty much you can do a lot with vibrations. That's break apart molecules, vibrate through different dimensions, mess with sound waves. You could do a lot of things with vibrations because, like, everything in the universe, pretty much, all the molecules vibrate at different frequencies. So that's why he's able to do all of that stuff. I'm assuming he could do some of that stuff in the comic books, but it looks like in the show, his doppelganger was able to do a lot of the stuff, whereas Cisco isn't for some weird reason. I think personally that he's holding himself back, like he's afraid of his powers, so he's not experimenting with them. He's not learning how to use them. He's just focusing on just this one particular, precognitive ability that he seems to have. And while they were doing all of this, basically a fight kicked off between Killer Frost, Deathstorm, Iris, Cisco, and then while they got caught, Barry came in there trying to fight them both, and in doing so, basically Barry got jumped by 3 different metahumans and got his ass handed to him. And while they were, beating on him, Zoom came in there and basically, he killed off Deathstorm and what did he say? Cisco called himself something differently in the alternate dimension. I think he called himself Reverb instead of Vibe. It was Reverb, and he basically killed him the same way that Reverse Flash killed Cisco in the regular universe. That's right. I was trying to think of his name, but I kept trying to say Flash, but I knew that wasn't it. And basically, Zoom came in there, took Flash, and then left, and imprisoned Flash where he's holding Harrison Wells' daughter, and they showed some other guy in a mask that I don't know who in the hell that was. By them hiding his face, I'm just going to throw out an assumption, and I'm going to say that maybe it could be Barry's dad in the alternate universe, because I know Barry's dad was mentioned, once in the episode, so I'm assuming he still has a personal life. And plus, you had that one picture of Zoom without the eye effects that was on the internet, I want to say like a few weeks to a month and a half ago. And the eye part kind of looks like John Wesley Shipp, Barry's dad. So, I really do think that it's him. But if that was him, they also showed Zoom in front of Barry at the end of the episode when he was calling him. So I don't know if he could be in two places at once, unless, let's say, Professor Zoom is, let's say, another alternate reality version of somebody getting speedster powers, and he came to this Earth to, like he's basically pulling like a Jet Li from the One, where he's going from universe to universe, stealing speedster's powers to get faster. Maybe he's doing that. If that's the case, then yeah, I still think it is, Barry's dad. But if it's not, then I don't know who that guy in the mask was. I know he was knocking on the wall, or not on the wall, but on the looks like their cell doors were made out of like plexiglass or something. So he was knocking on the wall, I'm assuming trying to get Barry's attention. But, he obviously didn't speak to him. So I'm assuming that's who that is. And speaking of which, we also got a glimpse of John Wesley Shipp when he was the Flash. When Barry and company went to Earth 2, they basically had two flashes of, well, not two flashes, meaning, because I know that they always tend to do that, but that's not what I mean. When I mean flash, I mean they had two pictures of basically Supergirl from the Supergirl show, and also they had a picture of John Wesley Shipp, I think, because it looked like a picture of him when he was in the old Flash TV show from the 90s. So I doubt if that's referencing anything. I'm guessing, him being the Flash, that's not saying that they're going to throw it in like a future episode enough. And I think that that's just, they're showing like it's multiple versions of the Flash in different universes. That's what I think they're showing. And if this Supergirl thing is a whole nother universe, I think they were greenlit for that crossover episode, so I think that's what's pertaining to that. They're basically showing that, hey, look, Supergirl is a whole nother universe, so she exists. So I know they're going to do that crossover. I don't know when that they have that planned, but that's what I always say. Like in any, every one of my episodes when I always talk about the DC movies, is that's what makes me mad. Is like these TV shows are making crossovers happen where they should be crossing over with the movies, and it's just, as a fan of comic books and the characters, I know I'll always say this and I always will. I'm not saying you have to do it just like Marvel, but it's extremely hard to watch the Flash TV show and then watch the Flash movie and have them be the same person played by two different people. It's extremely hard to do that, but I know I'm gonna watch it regardless. Also, this is just me, trying to predict something in the future. I think that, wait, before I say that, also when Barry and company went over to Earth 2, their portal to get over there broke. So they have no way to get back until they fix the portal and everything. And that's what I was going to tie into what I was just about to say is, Earth 1, the Earth, Barry's Earth, they don't have a Flash right now. So they had this other metahuman pop up. I think they called him Geomancer. And basically they had no way to stop him. He was, wanted to fight the Flash, I guess, to prove himself or whatever, but they didn't have a Flash. So what they did was, what's his name? Jay Garrick took that Velocity 6 drug that he made that gave him super speed before, and he took it again and tried to take on Geomancer. But the problem is that it wore off. And I don't know if this was a newer version of it, but basically, he told, what's her name? Caitlin, that basically back on his Earth 1, I'm getting all mixed up here. But basically on Earth 2, before he, claimed to have lost his speed to Zoom, he basically made the same type of drug, took it, and it made him faster for a little bit, but then it wore off. But it's slowly killing him now because of it. That's the reason why he lost his speed, not because Zoom took it. Zoom didn't disconnect him from the Speed Force. However, what I think is going to happen, as I was watching it, right, I was thinking like, okay, they brought in Wally West into the show, and I really don't think they're going to make him dress up as Kid Flash. So what I think they're going to do with him, and this is just me just predicting, nothing, I haven't heard anything, don't know what's going on, but basically, I really do think that since Earth 1 is without a speedster, that they're going to give, they're going to give Wally West speed powers. I don't know how they're going to do it yet, because either Jay Garrick and Caitlin have to fix Velocity 6, give it to Jay Garrick, and have him become the Flash again, and basically be the Flash in Barry's absence, or, I think they're going to fix Velocity 6, and let's say Jay can't take it, or if he takes it one more time, it's going to kill him, or something like that. And I think something's going to happen. I don't know whether if it's going to be on purpose, or if it's going to be by accident. But I think that, let's say Wally West is going to get that injection, and then that's how he's going to get his speed powers. Because in the comic, Wally West pretty much got his powers through the same way Barry did. But since there's no particle accelerator, can't talk today, damn. Excuse me, let me talk like I have some sense. Since they have no more particle accelerators to blow up, I'm assuming that's how he's going to get his speed powers. Because otherwise, why even have him in the show, period? They didn't have to put him in the show at all. So I think they're putting him in the show for a reason. And I just think that, I don't think he's going to be the main speedster, in the show. Like, he's not going to take Barry's place or anything. However, I do think that they're going to basically give him powers for like an episode or two and, keep him in the show until they decide what to do with him. Maybe 2 or 3 seasons down the road, they may turn him into the Flash and, do whatever. But that's just me thinking and everything like that. So, but overall, this episode was pretty good. You also had a lot of flashes of Gorilla Grodd and certain scenes, and I don't know if they were the same characters, let's say in Earth 2, but they basically showed hints of, different things as they was traveling to Earth 2. So I'm guessing those are going to be things that are going to pop up throughout, the rest of the season, because I'm assuming they're going to be in Earth 2 for a while. It's going to be a few episodes. They're not going to come back next episode or something. I think they're going to stay over and then come back when they have like the season finale where they fight Zoom and, beat them or do whatever, and, they fully explain everything. So, but anyway, fellas, that's just been my two cents on this week's episode. And I hope you guys have enjoyed me, stumbling over my words and rambling about it as I do every week. But anyway, my name is Denonu, the man with the most biggest and the most blackest privilege on YouTube. And I'll see you guys next week. Peace out.